Her uncle turned out to be her sugar daddy. The first time Chioma mentioned her uncle, I didn't think much about it. Why would I? Every family has that one wealthy relative everyone talks about. At the time, Chioma and I had been dating for about 6 months. We were deeply in love, or at least that's what I believed. She wasn't the flashy type. She wasn't always posting expensive restaurants or designer bags online. In fact, she appeared humble, hardworking, and focused. That's why the first expensive gift didn't bother me. One Friday evening, she showed up at a restaurant in Surulere carrying the latest iPhone. I remember staring at it. Wow, I laughed. When did you become rich? She smiled. My uncle bought it for me. Simple. Straightforward. Believable. At least, it sounded believable then. A few months later, she moved into a new apartment in Lekki. The rent wasn't cheap. Again, I asked questions. Again, she smiled. My uncle helped me. Then came a new laptop. A designer handbag. An all-expenses-paid trip to Abuja. Every time I asked, the answer remained the same. My uncle. Sometimes I even joked about it. Please introduce me to this uncle. I need sponsorship too. She would laugh nervously and quickly change the subject. Looking back now, that nervous laugh should have warned me. But love has a way of making intelligent people ignore obvious things. The first real red flag appeared on a Sunday afternoon. We were sitting together after church when her phone rang. The caller ID displayed Uncle K red heart. I noticed the little heart. Before I could say anything, she grabbed the phone so fast it almost fell from her hand. Then she rushed outside. When she returned nearly 20 minutes later, her face looked tense. Very tense. I tried to joke about it. Hope uncle isn't asking for school fees. She forced a laugh. But there was no humor in her eyes. That night, something kept bothering me. Who saves an uncle's number with a heart emoji? I wanted to ask more questions. But I stopped myself. Nobody wants to be the jealous boyfriend. Nobody wants to look insecure. So I buried the feeling. Unfortunately, buried feelings don't disappear. They wait. And sometimes they return with evidence. A few weeks later, I visited her apartment. While she was cooking in the kitchen, a dispatch rider arrived. He handed me a package. The package contained a gold wristwatch. Not an ordinary watch. The kind of watch that could pay my salary for several months. Attached to it was a small note. I had only read the first line when Chioma suddenly appeared. And the reaction on her face terrified me. She practically snatched the note from my hand. For a moment, we simply stared at each other. Then she laughed awkwardly. Why are you reading people's private messages? Private messages? From her uncle? The explanation didn't make sense. But again, I ignored it. I wish I hadn't. 3 months later, Chioma told me she was attending a family event. My uncle invited me, she said. I nodded. Then she spent almost 4 hours preparing. Hair. Makeup. Perfume. Jewelry. Everything. She looked less like someone attending a family gathering and more like someone preparing for a romantic date. The thought entered my mind immediately. I pushed it away. Then it returned. Stronger. Something wasn't right. For the first time in our relationship, I decided to do something I never imagined I would do. I followed her. Even as I drove behind her Uber through Lagos traffic, I kept praying I was wrong. I wanted to feel foolish afterward. I wanted to laugh at my own suspicion. I wanted proof that I was overthinking. Instead, I got proof of something else. The Uber stopped in front of a luxury hotel on Victoria Island. My confusion deepened. Family event? At a luxury hotel? I parked across the street and watched. 10 minutes passed. Nothing happened. Then a black Range Rover pulled into the hotel driveway. A wealthy-looking man stepped out. Late 50s. Expensive suit. Expensive watch. Expensive everything. The moment Chioma saw him, her entire face lit up. Then she did something that made my stomach drop. She ran toward him. Not casually. Not respectfully. She ran into his arms. I froze. The man wrapped his arms around her waist. She smiled. He touched her face. Then, he kissed her. Not on the forehead. Not on the cheek. On the lips. For several seconds, the world around me disappeared. The noise of Lagos traffic vanished. The people vanished. Everything vanished. I could only see Chioma. My Chioma. Kissing a man old enough to be her father. Suddenly every expensive gift made sense. The apartment. The trips. The handbags. The mysterious phone calls. The rent. The iPhone. Everything. The famous uncle. The generous uncle. The caring uncle. The uncle I had heard about for almost 2 years. He wasn't her uncle at all. He was her sugar daddy. My heart told me to leave. My pride told me to confront them. Unfortunately, pride won. I crossed the street and walked straight into the hotel lobby. The closer I got, the harder my heart pounded. When Chioma finally saw me, her face lost all color. The older man looked confused. I stopped directly in front of them. Nobody spoke. For several seconds, the silence felt unbearable. Finally, I looked at Chioma and asked quietly. "So this is the uncle?" She couldn't answer. The man looked from her to me. Then back to her. "Who is this?" he asked. I expected Chioma to tell the truth. After all, we had spent 2 years together. We had talked about marriage. We had talked about children. We had talked about building a future together. Surely, she would tell him who I was. Surely. Instead, she lowered her eyes and said something that shattered whatever remained of my heart. "He's just a friend." Friend. Not boyfriend. Not partner. Not the man who loved her. Not the man planning a future with her. Friend. Just one word. One word was all it took to destroy 2 years. I don't remember leaving the hotel. I don't remember driving home. The only thing I remember was sitting alone in my car later that night, staring into darkness. For the first time in years, I cried. Not because another man existed, but because I finally realized I had been living inside a lie. Over the following weeks, Chioma called repeatedly. She sent messages. Voice notes. Apologies. Excuses. According to her, the relationship with the older man started before she met me. According to her, she intended to leave him eventually. According to her, she genuinely loved me. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. But by then, it no longer mattered. Because trust is like glass. Once shattered, you can glue the pieces together. But you'll always see the cracks. And every time I hear someone say, "It's just my uncle," I can't help but smile. Because sometimes the biggest lie isn't the one people tell. It's the one you desperately want to believe. And that was exactly how her uncle turned out to be her sugar daddy.